So welcome, everyone. Welcome to my guest here, Reverend Paul Raushenbush, who's the executive editor of Huffington Post Religion, and Rabbi Josh Stanton, as we look at some questions through the Sinai and Synapses discussion forum, asking the question, are we using technology or is technology using us? And I'm thrilled to be sitting here with the two of you because both of you are experts and have such interesting thoughts about the way communication technology has changed the face of religion. And I would love to have a conversation here with the two of you. I know, Josh, one thing that you really are fascinated by is the way, for example, the printing press really set off the Protestant Reformation, how that technology changed religion, the religious landscape, and how that's progressed up until the year 2014. So would love to hear your thoughts on what this looks like.
Absolutely. So there were a few big changes that I think happened in 1448 because of the printing press. And one of them you might know about more than I would in terms of the Protestant Reformation. But there were also changes that took place in the Jewish world in terms of uniformity of prayer books and increased uniformity within Jewish law itself. So that particular texts that had been seen as guiding texts for the way communities should function and individuals should comport themselves, all of a sudden might be produced in what is the modern day state of Israel and then be sent to the other end of the known world, to the end of Europe, and be applied in communities that were utterly different culturally, utterly different socially, and yet could, by virtue of the printing press, see themselves as very much connected to the source material. So there was a move of almost centralization of textual material that would not have been possible otherwise. And it occurs to me now that we might be in a period of decentralization, where all of a sudden we're not reliant on the printing press, and anyone can go and create a prayer, create a thought, contribute and be in dialogue with Jewish thinkers from centuries past and present, and that it might be almost a move towards do-it-yourself Judaism that we see taking place by virtue of technology. But Paul, you're really one of the people at the cutting edge of this movement in religion and technology. I'd love to hear about what you're observing and what you think is taking place.
Well, I actually think you're onto exactly it, that the printing press was a radical change, but I actually think the internet is a bigger change, in part because of the power it gives people to not just actively receive information, but to create it. So there's no such thing now as like the passive reader. We are all active. I mean, even if we're sharing something on our Facebook page, that's actually publishing something. You know, many people will publish, the reflections or share something. That's publishing. There is, the social media, it's all this kind of connectivity. What it has done is called into question authority. How do people know what is real authority? And so one of the interesting things we've seen in the last maybe 8 years, remember, the internet is a baby. I mean, we're just in the infancy stages of what this is actually going to mean. So every day it changes. But at first, I think like the brick and mortar, we're a little like, oh, this fad called the internet will maybe put up a page and be really like not very interested or engaged in it. I think they realized quickly that that was a very bad idea because the authority on the internet is really how much you can gain traction in some ways. And so what you've seen, especially with the Catholic Church, they have taken a very aggressive stance with their Twitter feeds, with how they deal with the internet. And that is one of the big changes is how does authority get worked out? And how do you recognize someone who's authority? So people who are basically just Joe Schmoes like you and me can become huge internet authorities because they have big followings and big people. They may not be, have been trained as classically or have been, are as brilliant in scholarship, but they understand how to wield influence in a new way.